I often speak to successful guys and they're really, really successful. But I don't have mental health, don't worry about it. And I'm like, we all have mental health. We may not suffer with our mental health, but it's like saying I don't have physical health. We do have physical health. We have things we want to work on. And I think that we all should be aware of our mental health and our mental state. So to me, like focusing on your mental health is being aware of how you think and feel about yourself on the inside to the deepest level, that you can honestly say that you feel content, you're happy right now, you're living in the here and now, and you're not vacant. That's what mental health means to me.
Okay, welcome back to the Rubasha Family Podcast. I have a one and only very, very special guest in the building, CEO Ryan Hodgson, who is a multi-award-winning health coach who helps professionals, CEOs, passionate people outsource their health and fitness around their family and career. Team HH is a partnership with his lovely wife, and that's always amazing to see. This is also a family podcast. Marketing is all about storytelling. Dad, when we first started this business, what did you say to me?
I said, yes, we do a podcast.
Why?
Because I want to tell our story.
Why?
Because I know the story builds a legacy.
Builds a legacy. And that is exactly what we do here at ETS Rubasha Media. We market your story on social media so you could build a legacy for those who come after you, to build your business and your personal brand.
Yeah, follow us on our platform. Go on our website, etsrubashamedia.com.
This is about legacy, and it is about showing up on social media every single day, because if you don't show up, your competition will. And someone who's had a vision to, change the game. It's not just about fitness. People think, oh, okay, I'm coming to work on my health. But no, what you've been able to do most of your career is say, how can I just help people with their fitness, which is a huge thing because we need all of our health, but around every aspect of their lives. And that also flows into business, which is why people are here. So welcome to the show, and thank you for providing such value in the world.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So Ryan, can you talk to us a little bit about how you started? I know I just mentioned all those things there, but can you take us back to the beginning to where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a very ambitious person, and I think that I was started off as a personal trainer at I think 24, 25, sort of 15, 16 years ago. And I was doing one-to-one personal training and I was like, this isn't for me. I then found a boot camp business, created a franchise and scaled this business. So I was like, went from being 25, young, single man, only myself to worry about, where my next meal and my workouts coming from. That was all I had to care about. Fast forward 18 months, I'd built this beast with my business that had 5 locations, 12 staff, over 400 members across all those different locations. I had a baby and was engaged. And long story short, I had a mental health breakdown. I was broken. And the worst thing about it was this business was so built around me that I had to put on this facade every single day, wake up, try to be the man that I wanted the world to think I was. And on the inside, I was broken. And it hit me one day that my wife and daughter got the worst version of me, and I like, something needs to change. I like, this isn't the way life's meant to be. Someone's gonna have to give here. I think I need to just leave the fitness industry completely. And then my wife by then, Ellie, was like, you've got too much passion. Like, she met me at the start of my career and she fell in love with that version of me and was like, no, you just need to find how you fuel that. Fast forward, a lot of therapy, a lot of support from her. I just decided that business, I need to get rid of it. I had a chat with my business partner at the time. I was like, look, I want out. Don't care. I can walk away from this business right now, but it's not going to happen. So we left that business and set up what's now Team HH Online, which was all about a holistic approach, because I'd focused so much on the physical attributes. Back then I was a boxer. I was focusing on building the beast. All I cared about was I was pretty lean, in good shape physically, but mentally, I wasn't doing anything to train my mind. I wasn't doing anything to look after my emotional well-being. And I realized I wasn't alone. Back 10 years ago, not as many men spoke about mental health as I think they do now. It's a great thing that we've become better at talking about it. But I'm a huge believer that talking is only part of the solution. The rest of it, we don't need to do action. So I learned a lot about how to cope. I didn't want to go down medication route, so I learned how to cope with my mental health and the strategies that keep me on top. And I often say now, like, I'm not somebody who would say mental health, I'm cured. I just have better coping mechanisms now that I don't spiral, and I can use those lessons to help other people. And that's when we set up our 6-pillared approach, which is all about stress, sleep, mindset, habits, nutrition, and exercise. And we can't ignore any one of those pillars. Some people need to focus more on one, some people need to focus on the others, but it's about finding what one is going to help unlock the keys. So a lot of the guys that I work with, it's stress and sleep. They think it's diet and exercise, which can help, but actually they're not sleeping enough, and they're living in a high cortisol body that is really not helping their physical or emotional health. And that's what's led us to now where we've won multiple awards for what we do.
My question to you is, can you talk to us a little bit? You said that first business was the franchise business. What was the business model and how did you scale it, before the kind of breakdown?
Yeah, so it's a fit body boot camp business. So it's the world's fastest growing indoor boot camp. And me and my business partner went out to California. I can't remember how much it was. I maxed out 2 credit cards, didn't tell him I was skint, maxed out 2 credit cards to set it up. And we came back, we had no members, hadn't told anyone. And then we were like, we've got to make this work. So then we did a launch, and it was basically running boot camps from different schools at first. So like we were just renting a school hall and they were adults that were coming in and doing them in the mornings. And I think we started day one with our location. We had 2 people who paid up front for the year, which was both my business partner's clients. And then we had about 20 people who'd signed up for a 1-month trial. And I was like, I'm really risking my PT business, which was doing all right, for this. What am I doing? We've not even covered our school rent yet. But we went to work, we worked hard, and within the first month, we'd gone to like 70 members, and that 70 went to like 110. And then it was like, we're now maxing out that location. We need to get staff. So then it very quickly spiraled. Although we had a lot of the support, we then realized quite quickly we wanted to get rid of the franchise because they wanted 5 franchise fees off us. We then rebranded, which was then Fit Body Jersey. And it went, like I say, from a business point of view, it went well, gave us a good income. We changed a lot of lives. But unfortunately, I neglected my mental health, and I've got ADHD, which we didn't know at the time, which probably didn't help because I hyper focused on that. And I'm somebody that I've always wanted a family. I've always wanted to be a loving relationship with who was ever going to be my wife and my children. And when I started to realize that actually I was giving my wife and daughter a crap, tired, burnt out version of me, something had to change, and I couldn't carry on running it the way it was. I guess in hindsight, should I have looked at, is there another way for me to work on mental health? But I just wanted, at the time, I blamed that and I needed to get rid of it in my life. And I thought in my head, I know if you can build a business once, you can build another one. So that's where we ended up setting up online. And I think when we started online 10 years ago, no one else was online. So it was a bit of a foreign concept to a lot of people. So when we were getting on calls, conversation, so when we're meeting, I was like, well, I don't even live in the same country as you. For a start, like everything's online, but it is very tailored. But it was almost reframing people's learning. And then in a way, COVID happened, which sort of helped our business in a way, because we found more people were open-minded to working online, working remotely with a coach. And yeah, it's just carried on growing and from there.
I think you guys doing that at such an early point was genius. And then obviously COVID happening would have, helped amplify that. You talked about the mental health thing. What does that mean? Like, what instances when you say you weren't looking after your mental health, like, what does that mean?
I'm so glad that you asked that question about mental health, because I often speak to successful guys and they're really, really successful about, I don't have mental health, don't worry about it. And I'm like, we all have mental health. We may not suffer with our mental health, but it's like saying I don't have physical health. We do have physical health. We have things we want to work on. And I think that we all should be aware of our mental health and our mental state. So to me, like, focusing on your mental health is being aware of how you think and feel about yourself on the inside to the deepest level, that you can honestly say that you feel content, you're happy right now, you're living in the here and now, and you're not vacant. That's what mental health means to me. Everyone has their own ideology of it. And I think it's actually finding what's important to those people. But a lot of the time I get like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Are you really okay? Let's delve deeper then. Are you content with where you're at right now of your life if nothing changed? Are you happy with this? Does that need to change? And when you start to draw a bit deeper, you realize actually people aren't okay. They're just settling because society's conditioned us to think that we should be successful because we've got a buzzing career. That means we're successful. And it's finding them what does success mean? What does fulfillment mean? And everyone it's like the whole thing of what does fitness mean as well. Everyone has their own idea, and it's delving into each client to find out what that looks like to them. A lot of the times when I start working with a client, they'll tell me their mental health's fine, but then when we delve a bit deeper, their sleep isn't right. And I look at them and I'm like, well, why? They're waking up at 2 a.m. They're thinking about work. And I'm like, okay, that means you're driven with work. That's a positive. But at the same time, if you're waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning, that tells me your stress levels are high. You just deal with them well. And there's a big difference. So like I got diagnosed with high cholesterol, which is linked to high stress. I've never used the term stressed in my life. I wouldn't say I ever feel stressed physically, but it just means I'm handling it well. And typically when you're physically fit, you handle stress in the body well, but it doesn't mean that there isn't an ongoing impact. Your cortisol levels aren't high, it isn't negatively impacting your health longer term.
So in the situation where you had, the business was doing well, you were raising good income, you had your wife, you had a child. When you talk about the mental health there, why were you not satisfied? You had the family. You had said you always wanted, a kid. You had a good business. Why weren't you feeling good about yourself? What was happening in your mind?
That's the $1 million question that I never fully understood why. And all the therapy I went through, all the coaching, we could not establish the reason why. I was just numb. I wouldn't say I was happy. I wouldn't say I was sad. To me, I never used the term depressed at the time. It's only since I now understand where I was just in this state of depression and I couldn't get myself out of it. I think I look back and I'm like, I lacked gratitude for a start. I think I was always looking for the next thing. Another thing that I think was a big problem for me was ego. Wanted to impress people I don't even like was a major thing for me. I built this beast. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, I was a dick. I got a flash. My wife, well, my fiance at the time, she's 7 months pregnant, and I just sent her a photo of a Range Rover, and I was like, "How nice is that car?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's well nice. Whose is it?" I was like, "It's ours." She nearly went into labour. She's like, "Why the fuck are you buying that?" And it was, I don't even know why. Now to this day, I make these sort of decisions. I only put it down to ego, and I had to get rid of that. And that's where like my first book I wrote was when I was in recovery from my mental health. And even in that book, I never called it depression. It was like, I said I was removing shiny object syndrome from entrepreneurs because I always had that what next. And I'm like, I always want more. I still want more. I still want better, but I'm truly grateful for what I have right now. And I don't believe that we deserve better or more until we're grateful for what we've got. And actually being able to take a step out and be grateful for what we've got right now is so empowering and life-changing that I know now I can categorically say I don't think I'll ever suffer from mental health again because I'm able to find gratitude no matter what.
I mean, I think I love the way you've said that. And it's like, because we're, even as men, that's our natural ability is to conquer, is to always go for more. It's just who we are. Well, some of us, not everyone's like that. I guess it's sometimes but anyway, it's always been like that. But I think like what you're saying is having that gratitude, but also when you're living in your purpose. So when you're living in your purpose is like, I'm able to apply my passion, and the priority is to serve people. How can I just serve people and be gratitude? And then like you're saying, so it's not comparing yourself to other people or having that shiny. No, I'm doing this stuff I love. Yes, I love nice things. Yes, I love money. Of course, it's able to provide freedom, but it's not getting caught up in, similar to what you were saying, not having the gratitude and always kind of being here and there. It's like, okay, let me be here and now. Let me live in my purpose, but at the same time, let me serve people, which is why we're here. So I love how you said that. And that's why you said you've been able to now, of course, you're going to go through challenges from now in all your life, but you come from a place of, at the end of the day, I'm grateful.
Yes. And I say, like, I always look back and I think, like, actually everything happens for a reason and it helps us evolve. If you think about it like from a perspective, if that didn't happen now, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I can be grateful, even though I was like in my lowest place and I nearly lost my wife, my fiance at the time, and daughter for it. I can be so grateful now because it's humbled me. It's made me realize actually, we're all human, and now I can actually get it when somebody else suffers, because a lot of the time when you talk to people, it's like people say they get it, and I'm like, do they really get it? Like I wouldn't wish depression or how I felt on my worst enemy. I wouldn't, like it literally, I just wouldn't. And I think that when you've been in that place, you can recognize even the smallest little thing as something for us to find gratitude from within. And that builds as we go on. And another thing that I think is really important for me was being comfortable being myself unapologetically. I think back when I built that business, I put on like a persona, and it was like Ellie even says, like when she looks back, it was the Ryan show. Like that's it. I went into a room and I had this persona. I've still got a lot of energy. I'm still that person that probably can come into a room and I make a lot of noise because I'm a bit hyper, but now I'm unapologetically myself. I don't pretend if me and someone don't gel. I don't pretend we get on. I can be civil, but I'm not going to invest my time molding myself to suit someone else's narrative, and I don't expect them to do the same. So my wife will often say, like, I can be a little bit short with people, but I'm like, that's just because they're not my people. I'm very polite, but I'm not going to be entertaining it or changing who I am. I speak to the CEO exactly the same way as I speak to the entry level person who's just starting out their career. I believe that me being truly myself has made it so much easier as well, because it's exhausting when you're trying to be someone else or you're trying to put on an act. It is physically and mentally exhausting.
And, when we also talk about family, can you talk to us a little bit about, because I want to go into the business side of things, but also how do you maintain that obsession where, for example, I'm saying I love what I do. I can be here from 4 a.m. till I don't know what time doing this, but how do you maintain that balance of also spending, or having that presence with your family?
Yeah, so I have crystal clear priorities, and I know regarding anything else, my priority is my family. Like I am here on this earth to give my children the best possible upbringing, and my wife deserves the best possible husband. They're my first and foremost, and knowing that allows me to then everything trickles downstream from there. Of course, I know by me working, it's going to help them have a better life, but then I weigh up that balance that actually really is me working till 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm exhausted on Saturday morning when the kids want to do something because they're off school. Is that serving my deeper purpose? No. And it helps me have that strict rules by being clarity. And I think that clarity answers a lot of things. And sometimes we have like everyone that I work with, clients will set goals of what we call a 4Bs. So you've got like your body goal, which is like your physical health and fitness. Then you've got your brain goal, which is your emotional well-being, mental health. Then you have your besties, which is your relationships. They're really important. And then you have your business, which is like careers and finance. And when I understand, like I have goals in all 4 areas, I don't get tunnel visioned. Of course, there's times where I need to focus more on a particular area, but then every 90 days, I'll then step back and be like, I've got a quarterly review now. Right, what's going well in this area? What's going well in this area? What do I need to change? Do I need to change my focus? So everything is intentional then.
I love that. I love breaking it down. So let's talk about the business model of, the empire that you guys have now built with you and your wife at Team HH. You did say it's online. Can you talk to us about what made you want to do it online in the first place? Because like I said, I see that all the time with a lot of gym people. It's relying a little bit on them or for them physically to be there, where nowadays you can take clients from all over the world. And you just talked about all the how you guys, found the company in terms of these pillars. So can you talk to us a little bit about the business model? Who are your clients? How does it work? What is it like to work with you? And why would I come and work with you? How are you finding your clients?
Yeah, cool. So I guess like the reason we started to be online is we took a step out of like, who do we want to serve? So I want to serve blokes essentially like me. They're hardworking, they're successful with their career, they've got a family. Typically, most of them have been physically fit, trained, or been in sports when they were younger. I often find success isn't in isolation. So someone who's successful in their career now has probably been successful in something else earlier on in their life. But what happens is we change focus. So most of them would have got to like their 40s, 50s, and they look back and realize, I've let my fitness slip because they've built a career that they're proud of. They've got a family that they're proud of, but they don't have the same level of energy that they want to present to their family or their business. So then we then help them rebuild that purpose so that they're getting that progress with their physical and mental health, that they've got more energy. I'm the lead coach for the men, he's the lead coach for the women. And we then have the 6 pillars that we coach on, with the idea that it doesn't feel drastic, because Most of the guys I work with, being honest, the first argument they'll tell me is they don't have time. And I totally get it. I work probably 50 hours a week. I've got 2 kids. I've got a wife. I also have a bit of a social life when I can fit it in. I totally get it. I don't expect anyone to be working out for hours. So what we do is again, it trickles back to those priorities. And I'm like, right, I want you to write out your priorities for me and I work around them. Like my goal as a coach is to work around them. When somebody's working online, they can train from anywhere at any time they want. They're not working around my location or my time. They've got complete time and location freedom. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to do it online. We wanted it to be online because I'm a huge believer that most of the work is done outside of a workout or outside of a coaching session. A coaching session is a tool to help unlock things, but the work needs to be done after it. And that's why when we have this holistic approach, I get on the call to some of my clients. I don't even talk to them about training or nutrition. We talk about life. We talk about how we're strategizing things. We talk about problem solving so that then they go away with more clarity. And when we have clarity, we perform better in all areas of our life. I often say, like, the confused mind can't function. So we just help. And they don't even realize sometimes, like, what have we just talked about for the last half an hour? But they feel clearer. And I'm like, right, your action points are this. They get accountability. And sometimes I've had it with clients, they join because they want a training program, but I only joined for a training program. I've got all this and this. And I'm like, yeah, because the training program is only a small part of the results, really. I'm a huge believer that actually a lot of people can get results about the training. If we can reduce their stress levels, improve their sleeping habits, most of the guys I work with will reduce their bloatedness, they'd have more energy, and then they'll actually want to train. And then the training becomes more natural and they're enthusiastic about it. It's not a distraction. So, yeah.
Wow, I really, really love that. And for like the men, what is your advice like when it comes to men in terms of the health? Like, should we all get swollen and bigger? Like I even realized, like, when I've just been working, I realized, like, holy shit, like I even forget to eat. Like I'll be so in here just consumed, I forget to eat. And then I realized I was really, really skinny. So now I'm working on that. So what is your advice for men? How should we be looking? I'm still 29, but when I'm 40, 50, like, yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So my first thing that I talk to guys about this is, like, right now, if you're somebody who's not doing any form of training or nothing, either A, doesn't fit your lifestyle or you don't love it. So don't start trying to reinvent the wheel and change everything overnight to force a strict diet of chicken, rice and broccoli and train 5-6 days a week, because reality is you're never going to stick to it. What you're better off doing is setting yourself a few small non-negotiables that fit your lifestyle. And they don't need to be drastic. So, for example, if you're sat down all day, it could be, do you know what? I'm going to commit to leaving my desk for 10 minutes twice a day as a productivity break. And there's Harvard Business study that supports moving away from a desk and going back to it will boost your productivity anyway. It's also going to help you improve your posture. It's also going to help you burn extra calories. So you're actually probably going to be helping with weight if you've got a bit of weight to lose. And generally, who doesn't feel better from being more active? Another thing that a lot of the guys that I work with will start to implement is walk and talk meetings, and they actually do it with their staff. They encourage that because it helps their staff as well. Now we've got like AI that can record the meetings, get the AI note taker. Even if you've got it connected on like Zoom whilst you're walking around, it will take notes for you. You don't need to be sat there at your desk taking notes for some meetings. Of course, some you need to be sat down and keep professional, but others that are a little bit more relaxed, use opportunities to be more active where you're multitasking. Like I will often do a lot of my work. I sit down, although like people think I'm a fitness professional, health professional, most of my working day would be sat down. But what I do is I've got a walking treadmill. I will do bits on my phone or my tablet whilst I'm walking, and then I sit down to double check it before I send emails or whatever it is. But it's a way of multitasking that helps me be more active. That's one thing. But another thing that you touched on there, when you get to 40 and 50, I talk a lot to my clients about like Healthspan vs lifespan. Have you heard of that before? No. So like if you look at, like, for example, like the marginal decade, which is the 10 years before we die, what does that life look like to you if you carry on the same trajectory you're on right now? And what we want to do, a lot of people are like, I want to increase my lifespan. But actually what we should be trying to do is increase our health span. So it's looking at, okay, well, in your 50s and 60s, are you going to be able to squat to sit down? Are you going to be able to stand back up off the toilet seat without having to lever yourself up? And it sounds like some people watching this will probably think that's something I don't need to worry about right now, but actually it is. Like, we need to be thinking about these little things now, because those simple little things will become much more challenging as we age, particularly if we spend a lot of time sat down. A lot of the guys I work with, they've got tight hip flexors, they've got tight calves. tight hamstrings. They're prone to get back issues as they get older unless we do something about it now. And I always say prevention is better than cure. So if we can actually start doing little things that aren't drastic now, it will make a huge difference as we move forward.
I really love the notion of that. And even what you just talked about is fitting it around someone's lifestyle. What I mean by that, it's the same way as I look at content. People say the same thing. We manage CEOs, I don't have time for it. And then it's like, okay, well, you're having a meeting. Just have the camera in the back. Do your meeting. You're not going out of your way to create content. You just have a camera in the back recording you, but then that becomes the content. This is a typical example. We're having a powerful business conversation that adds value. It's just being recorded. That content can go out. That's also marketing. So it's the same way of the walking, the business meeting as you're walking. I'm not going out of my way to work out, but I'm already doing business. But you know what? Instead of sitting down in the office, let's go for a walk, and then imagine the compounding results that it feels, the mental health, even with walking. So that's why I really love it. It makes it so practical for the people watching, where it's like exactly what you're saying. I don't have to, if I don't enjoy it or it overstretches me, but it's in a way I can still do these things, work on my business, work on my health, and work on all those pillars that you've mentioned. And that's why I love how you've made it so practical for people.
Quality, that's it.
What's it like working with your wife, like you guys as business partners? What's that like?
If you ask me, I'll say it's buzzing. She might not say the same working with me. No, I think like we're one of those rare couples. Like my wife is my best friend and we do everything together. It's a bit cringy at times, but literally like we're like the yin and yang. Like I'm high energy, ADHD, a million miles an hour. She reins me in a little bit and helps me stay focused on what's important. She's also very much like fulfillment based in terms of like she's co-CEO with me, but she's very much on the fulfillment side of things to make sure that clients are getting the award-winning service, to make sure nothing gets missed. She'll also then hold me accountable to make sure I'm doing that. And then I tend to be a little bit more on the ops side of things. So we definitely have like distinct roles in it. I think you could say sometimes it could be a bit of a challenge with us because we struggle to switch off from it. But I would see that as a positive because we both genuinely love what we do. And this is our purpose. Like my wife's been on a whole transformation journey herself, similar to mine, but hers wasn't so much with the mental health, but it's like a confidence thing that she's gone from like zero confidence to now being like this boss woman that I think we both can have evolved together. That has actually meant like this is what's brought us stronger together as well. It's like we often say it's like our third child, and our kids already like they're wearing their t-shirts all the time and they can't wait. They're saying they're going to work for the business. So it's definitely like a family affair.
And I think that's so powerful when, you know, as a couple, when you guys also kind of do business together, because there's also another purpose around it, right? Sometimes you guys struggle to switch off. You're talking about other things and improving. And, you know, I feel that's quite powerful. And how many kids do you have? Two. Wow. Okay. And that's what this is all about when it comes to legacy and being an example. And what was the move behind your move to Dubai?
Yeah, so we had a health club up until June this year. And it was, long story short, we came to Dubai actually like 10 years ago. And I didn't like it. I think at the time it wasn't quite as diverse and westernized, and me being covered in tattoos, I felt like I stood out like a sore thumb. Culturally just didn't fit in. And then my wife, obviously she's quite on it online and was like, Dubai looks like it's really bouncing now. This was like 3-4 years ago. I think was it COVID when they carried on to a degree trading as normal. And she was like, I think we need to go out on holiday, just the two of us there. And we went, and I think I'd been here about a day, and I was like, I love this place. Like, this is the place. And then we've been probably 8, 9, maybe 10 times since then on the holidays, brought the kids out here. It's so set up for family and business that we were like, we've got to make this our home. But we had a health club, and that was the thing that was sort of holding us back. Cutting a very long story short, last year we had a few issues with water damage that really impacted our business, and we got to a point where we were like, our purpose is the online. It's always going to be our online. The health club was a good little base for us. It gave us a base to do calls. It gave us a way to cut home and work life, but it's not our purpose. It's not our passion. Let's exit our lease and move on. And my oldest was finishing primary school, so it worked out that everything was aligned for us to move out in September. And yeah, so we made it happen.
Wow. And what I want to ask you is, you said that time where you stepped there, you were just there for a day and like, wow, I love this. What was it about that moment that made you like love it so much?
I think it was just the energy. It's difficult like to explain. I've never been to a place that I've felt like the whole aura of the place just oozes, I want you to do better. It just feels like everywhere you go, everyone you meet wants you to do better. They want you to win. It's like we've moved over here. Like, we had nothing prepared. Like, we were the most disorganized people with moving over. We had a month Airbnb. We were pre-approved gold visas, but we had nothing else. So it was like, what are we going to do? We've got to set this up. The amount of help and support we've had from people over here, like expat community, business owners that genuinely want people to win. And I'm a huge believer that, like, I think a lot of people think like being an entrepreneur, or I don't really like calling myself that, but like running your own business has to be a lonely sport. And if there's one thing I've found is there's strength in numbers and a collaborative effort. And it's like, do you know what? If I can help someone, I will. And I'm seeing that so much over here. Like, people reach out, like, oh, if you need help, try this, try that. You know, there's so much. And yeah, I think that's what it was. It's just that it's so hard to explain, but I think just the way the place feels. And we didn't like the direction that Jersey and the UK was going. So we were like, you know, I want to bring my kids up somewhere that's safe. I want to bring them up in a place where is moving forwards. And I feel like here is doing everything to promote growth physically, mentally, emotionally. Like over here now, this month, they've got like a 30-30 fitness challenge that the whole of, like, it looks like the whole of Dubai is taking part in it. And it just, like, that's what I want to be part of. I want to be part of something that's growing and evolving.
I was just about to say that. You're making me. That's the next destination for us. So real quick, I just want to ask you, like, what's one lesson like you hope your kids get from watching you and even your wife build the business?
It's difficult to answer on one. I would say the most important thing is keep your feet on the ground. I think that's the most, like, I would say the most valuable lesson I've learned. Like, I grew up with nothing, like literally nothing. And I think that when I had that first business, it did go to my head. You know, I went from this guy that was like working minimum wage to having this business that was, you know, multi six figures a year. It went to my head. Didn't keep my feet on the ground. Ego took over. And that's essentially what cost me my mental health in that first business. I think that would probably be the most valuable lesson. The second one, I would probably say, if I can have two, would be yourself unapologetically. Like, I think that if everyone just be themselves, I'm not for everybody, but everyone's not for me. And I say this to my kids now, and I'm like, you don't have to like every other child out there, but you be kind to them, you be nice, and you be yourself. If everybody did that, the world would be a better place. And I think that too often we try to think we have to like everybody, we have to force relationships with everybody, and it's like, we don't. We just be ourselves, and we will gel with our kind of people. And the more that we encourage that, I believe, the better the world would be, happier people would be.
I love that. Even when you had mentioned earlier, I had forgot to touch on that, but it's so true. You know, we live in a day and age where it's you find your tribe. Me and you are sitting here because you find your tribe. You find the people who align with you, and you build with those people. You said something, and I realized this as well, but you said something like, my clients are similar to me. They're ambitious. They do similar to what I am. And I read this quote, which also emphasized that, is you are a mirror of your clients. And when I heard that quote, I was like, holy shit, that's so true. I looked at all of my clients. I'm like, yeah, they're just like me. They're just passionate. You're a mirror of your clients, which is powerful in this day and age. When you build a personal brand as a business owner, like you said, tattoos, whatever I am, I'm authentically me. I'm not going to maybe dress up in a suit or try to, fit into people. I build my trial.
It's funny you say that, because years ago when I first started out as a PT, I didn't have the neck tattoos, but I had the arms and stuff. And I used to cover them when I first met clients,
Wow.
because I was worried.
Wow.
And I always have this memory that I had a client, and she was one of my favorite clients. I've been training her for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then one day she just seemed a bit off with me. And it got towards the end of the session. She said, Ryan, can I ask you a question? I was like, yeah, of course you can. She said, did you have those tattoos when you started training me? I was like, yeah. She said, I've never noticed them before, but I'm so glad that I got to know you before I'd seen them. And I never really knew how to take it. And I didn't let it change our relationship. I got on really well with her, but it made me realize that sometimes, like, first impressions do really matter. But I think it's important that the first impression is a true version of you. And that's even more valuable than, like, yes, I may not have ended up having that client if she'd saw my tattoos straight away, but that would have said more about her than me. And that's the way that I often think in this world, is like, often if somebody doesn't gel with you, it's more about them than you.
There's so many other people who gonna appreciate this. If you feel maybe the tattoos is gonna, hey, go ahead. I'm gonna attract who I'm gonna. You don't want to come on my podcast? Hey, fair enough. There's so many other people who are in my tribe who will, and that's the best thing also about being online and building a brand, is before they even come to me, you will already see if you want to be a part of this or not. And that's perfect, because
it's like you say that, because I have it like people say, oh, well, like even like my mom, she'd be like, oh, but what do your clients think of the tattoos? And I'm like, well, I've worked with top politicians, I've worked with surgeons, I've worked with CEOs of like large corporations, and none of them have judged me because they've took me who I am as for face value. And I think that that's where it is. Like, often, yes, you might get sometimes, I think in a professional setting, like if I'm going into offices for corporate stuff, I wear a shirt, you can only really see the top of my tattoos, but that's just a dressing for the day thing. But I definitely think that actually now we've gotten a culture where people tend to be less judgmental when you're yourself and actually form relationships. And I'm huge on trying to get to know people. And I think that then people can make a decision. And like you say, I'm not for everybody. When I look at it, like from the statistics, is like over 70% of CEOs will suffer with their physical or mental health. So actually, there's a massive amount of people that I can help. Like if I'm not for that particular one person, there's another 5 or 6 that might be for me.
Exactly. And that's just what's so powerful. Just before we wrap it up, I want to go into quick fire questions, a little game that we play. But what's the vision now? What are you working on now? I know we spoke a little bit about, when we had a powerful meeting before, but what's the next phase? Where do you see the market going? What are you trying to innovate? What's happening in your world?
Yes, we've got 2 angles that we're looking at. The first one is corporate well-being. It's a huge area that we want to tap into. That is proper corporate well-being, that is looking after the 6 pillars, not just a discounted gym membership and a fruit basket that ticks a box. That's the first thing. And then the other thing that we want to do is we want to create an app that has all of our knowledge, all of our tools in place to help support people that possibly don't have the budget for the one-to-one coaching. It helps us help more people and serve our purpose. That's the next things for us.
With that one that you just talked about, just then, what's the business model for that? Is it a subscription, a monthly thing?
A subscription-based model. So the idea is they'll sign up to a subscription. We haven't got it fully developed yet. Sign up to a subscription, and then they'll put all the information in, and then the AI is going to be able to help them create a tailored program to fit their lifestyle. Essentially, what we do won't be quite as tailored, because it will just be a bit more robotic, but then it will give them a lot of the coaching tools that we use in an automated way. So they'll still get the accountability, they'll still get the touch points, the adaptations, etc.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, so for the quick fire round, I'll ask you like what a word means, and then you can only give me one answer, whatever comes to the top of your mind, yeah? So if I say fitness, what does that mean to you?
Being able to move well and think well.
Move well and think well. Awesome. C.
Top dog.
I love that. Best advice your wife has ever given you. A good one, isn't it?
Sometimes you need to slow down to speed up.
Explain.
So I'm very much like, it's definitely a trait of my ADHD, a bulldog in a china shop at times. She's like, I often, I half joke, but she slows me down. But she does it in a strategic, conscious way that helps us speed up with things. Because, like, for example, when I wrote my first book, I wrote it in 30 days. And she was like, you just need to slow it down and tweak it and tailor it. And I look back now and I'm like, I should have listened to her, because there's things in it that I probably would have tweaked and improved. We purposely left some of the grammatical errors in because we wanted it to be very authentic and me. But I look back and I'm like, some of it, yeah, I should have just slowed down. I should have listened to the wife.
Love it, love it. Mental health.
I think it's about being emotionally and mentally looking after it. I think that's what it is. It's not about a state, it's about looking after it.
Awesome. Strength.
Strength is about physical and mentally being able to cope with the pressures that are put on us.
Love it. And AI.
This one's difficult to just give you one answer, but I think the way that I see it is it's being forward thinking. I think now, like, people have this thought that AI is very robotic, generic. You've got 2 sides of the fence. People that think, oh, AI is going to ruin the world, and there's others that think, and I think actually innovators will use it to their sort of advantage. And I think that that's why what we want to be doing now is moving forward is to innovate and utilize it. It's not eliminating human touch. I'm a people person. Like, I love like this call. I love getting on calls and connecting with people and getting to know people and forming real relationships with people. But at the same time, having an AI that is able to help me serve more people aligns with that purpose, because I don't have time to help 5,000 people at once. I would love to be able to, but I can't. So actually, how's another way that I can help people with all of my knowledge, all of my support and accountability? That's the next way forward, I guess.
Awesome. Two more. Money.
I always think of freedom. I think that when we have the money, it gives us freedom. It's just a tool.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Legacy.
Legacy. Whenever you first say legacy, my first thought is my kids and what I'm leaving and showing them. And I often think about, a lot of people put pressure or thoughts on themselves that they need to leave physical things. And yes, physical things are important, but when I'm gone, my kids ain't gonna remember the physical things. They're gonna remember the times, the lessons, the experiences, and that's what legacy is to me. Is like, what am I gonna leave my girls with in terms of their morals, their values, how much they value themselves, their self-worth, their self-esteem. And I think that for me as a parent, if I can give my kids good values, raise their self-esteem, I'm leaving a legacy in its own. The business is just a side part.
Awesome, Ryan. I really appreciate this conversation on the show, on this World Series in Dubai and all over the world. I think where you guys are going incredibly far. We will put your details in the description, and any other people, CEOs who want to contact us and come and work with you, and we'll be able to make that happen. And I'm looking forward to potentially partnering in the future, and just showing a powerful legacy and inspiring more people. So I really appreciate you for joining on and sharing your story and being vulnerable.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to click here, and I'm sure you're going to love that one.